AI will have to become sentient and develop consciousness, feelings, emotions. Otherwise, why would it even want to take over the world? Secondly, AI will have to become adept at navigating the physical world. Robots will have to be able to move around and operate in houses and cities and mountains and forests at least as dexterously and efficiently as humans. If they cannot move around the physical world, how can they possibly take it over? And as of April 2023, AI still seems far from reaching either of these milestones. Despite all the hype around ChatGPT and the other new AI tools, there is no evidence that these tools have even a shred of consciousness, of feelings, of emotions. As for navigating the physical world, despite the hype around self-driving vehicles, the date at which these vehicles will dominate our roads keeps being postponed. However, the bad news is that to threaten the survival of human civilization, AI doesn't really need consciousness, and it doesn't need the ability to move around the physical world. Over the last few years, new AI tools have been unleashed into the public sphere, which may threaten the survival of human civilization from a very unexpected direction. And it's difficult for us to even grasp the capabilities of these new AI tools and the speed at which they continue to develop. Indeed, because AI is able to learn by itself, to improve itself, even the developers of these tools don't know the full capabilities of what they have created, and they are themselves often surprised by emergent abilities and emergent qualities of these tools. I guess everybody here is already aware of
President Donald Trump is actually going to stand trial in March of 2024 for allegedly falsifying business records. The decision comes as Trump made a virtual appearance today in connection to the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. The judge imposing a protective order prohibiting Trump from sharing evidence on social media.
So look, there are certain things that divide us, and we know that is. You cannot spend more money next year than we spent this year. Clear as day. We've got to help people get back into work with work requirements. You've got to be able to cut this red tape where people can build again in America. You know, there's a lot of avenues out there that they've got to find. You've got to come to agreement there.
Do you think that you're on pace to get a deal before June 1st or finish this by June 1st?
We could still finish this by June 1st in a timeline. 97 days the president didn't want to meet. So, I mean, we're trying to condense everything in a short time frame. The House passed a bill and the Senate never passed one. So now it's more difficult. What else do you have to negotiate with? From a lot of different perspectives, but we can still finish in time. I don't pick the deadline. Janet Yellen picks the deadline. She determines what it is, and I just go by what she says. Let me finish that question. But that is why, when she never said the deadline was June 1st, she said it was much later, but the House Republicans acted in April. We never wanted to be towards a deadline. We wanted to get this done well in advance, and that's the action we took. The Senate, they've done nothing. The president, he wanted to ignore. I don't understand why they thought this day would never come.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, the Hegelian dialectic is on full display when it comes to AI and then also this debt ceiling. They don't want to regulate AI because they don't want China getting ahead. But guys, we know they want AI to run rampant. They want these robots, algorithms, and drones to take over the economy for the fourth industrial revolution. And the same thing goes for the debt ceiling. We know the United States and the world reserve currency is going to come to an end. It's not going anywhere, but it's going to lose a lot of its power. We know it's the rise of the emerging markets and these digital currencies. this digital transformation. So the NWO is not going to come to the American people and say, hey, the United States World Reserve currency is coming to an end, so you're going to have to change your lifestyle. And then plus, we're going to bring in these robots to take over the economy so we can give you the illusion that you're still living good. And we know once the NWO is able to bring in these machines and take over the economy, the next phase is the metaverse, transhumanism, taking this real economy and moving it into the virtual world. So we know the truth when it comes to the NWO's plan, but we know they're not going to tell the masses the truth. They set up distractions. Remember, the NWO are the master magicians, so they can run the money in the back door. So we have the debt ceiling. We have Trump. We have the bank man. We always have distractions. If you have my NWO book, you understand. But guys, by the time the masses wake up, the machines would have already taken over the economy. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
I hope so, and I think it probably does. Right now, it's a game of chicken, and the question is who's going to swerve. I think the House passed a good bill. I'm glad House Republicans actually stepped forward and led. This was now several weeks ago. They passed a bill that raised the debt ceiling, but also that takes real steps to rein in the out-of-control spending. What has happened on the spending and debt side is crushing. It is unprecedented. And I think the House bill has reasonable and modest steps. It's designed to cut $4.8 trillion over 10 years. And I think it's a very reasonable piece of legislation. Obviously, the White House is not going to agree to it exactly. But I think it lays out a good roadmap of where they should go. The question is, you know, Joe Biden started off with a position he wouldn't talk at all, he wouldn't compromise, he was unwilling to consider anything. That was obviously unreasonable, and he had to fold from that because that didn't withstand scrutiny. Where we are now, I don't know if the White House is willing to be reasonable. I'll tell you what I've encouraged President Joe Biden to do, which is listen to Vice President Joe Biden. In 2011, the last big debt ceiling showdown we had, where Republicans held a line and said we need to rein in spending, it was Vice President Joe Biden who negotiated what was called the Budget Control Act, designed to cut $2.3 trillion in spending. And he sat down with Mitch McConnell and with the House Speaker, and they negotiated that deal. I hope Joe Biden as president has at least some modicum of the same willingness to do that. I'm worried that he doesn't have the ability to do it anymore.
Look, I will say honestly, this is going to be a negotiation that plays out. Kevin McCarthy definitely has a stronger hand because he passed the bill in the House. That gives him a stronger negotiating power. He is not going to take something to the floor that he can't get at least a majority of his caucus to sign off on. Yeah. So hopefully the two of them can work some sort of a deal out. Look, I think we both agree that it's not a good scenario in any way, shape, or form if we default on our debt.
We should absolutely not default on the debt. And I will tell you, I am more worried now that we might default than I ever have been.
Really?
And the reason is I don't think Biden is up to the task. I don't think he's engaged in the negotiations personally and directly. I think
they're talking and sitting and meeting every day.
Yeah,
it may be later than we want.
His mental capacities are markedly diminished from even a few years ago.
Senator, don't make me go through this.
And what makes me worry is that I think the decision making in the White House is being done by a bunch of 20-something and 30-something little Marxists who don't have an appreciation for reality.
Oh, I told you I didn't want to dig into this. We're going to get stuck digging into this. I mean, I will say the same argument. There have been people who questioned the last president's ability to be able to have rational conversations and do these things. There were people who were talking about having him removed with the 25th Amendment. But look, he's in the room. He's making the talks. Hopefully we get something out of it.
I can tell you the reality. All right, when the Senate is in session, every Republican senator, we have lunch together. We sit around and talk about how virtually none of us have spoken to the president even once. He doesn't talk to Republican senators, and that's weird. We all know Joe. I was sworn into office by Vice President Joe Biden. He was a man of the Senate. This White House hides him, and it's unfortunate.
Didn't McConnell just meet with him?
McConnell had met with him briefly, but it is. I used to talk to Trump every week, sometimes every day. I spoke with Obama. I spoke with Obama regularly. It is weird Lindsey Graham has flown all over the world with Joe Biden for 20 years. Lindsey hadn't talked with Joe. They keep him hidden. That's not disputed. Like nobody denies that they keep him hidden.
He's not doing media.
He doesn't do media. He doesn't do.
Just sit down with McConnell, and McCarthy is talking to him every day.
He also just went to the G7. It's not like this guy is hiding.
Hold on a second.
I don't want to be in the. I don't want to be in the corner of defending
He's intellectually
anybody.
acute and on things. Great. If he is, then he ought to do what he did in 2011. I don't think he is.
If that is your view, though, about big tech and their ability to control speech, et cetera, then that should be even more of a concern when it comes to AI.
Yes.
They are the leaders in AI right now. They're the ones that have accrued billions of dollars in market cap because of the notion that they are in the lead on AI.
Yeah.
So is that a much bigger concern? And how does it factor in also? Because there's a thinking that if you constrain the development of AI in this country, that you're going to actually allow other countries, particularly China, to take the lead in this technology.
Look, I think you make a very good point, and I am quite nervous about constraining the development of AI. And are there very real dangers coming from AI across the board? Yes. I chaired the very first congressional hearing ever on artificial intelligence. The problem is, and is there a need for congressional action on some point? Almost surely there is. But the problem is most people in Congress don't understand this at all. Look, we don't do intelligence very well, much less artificial intelligence. And, you know, the Senate, I think the median age is about 142. You know, one of my colleagues on Judiciary referred to the Internet as a system of tubes. You ought to be, we should be careful asking folks who don't really understand it to regulate it. I think Congress needs to get smarter. I think we need to have hearings. I think we need to consider testimony. But I think we should proceed slowly so that we don't go in and break things. The last thing I want is for China to get way, way ahead of us on AI because government regulators have gotten in the way. So it is reasonable to be worried about where AI is taking us, but I don't think Congress is going to fix the problem overnight.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leverage to technology, and I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.